The only signal that there might be an indictment was an interview I actually conducted several months ago in April with Michael McCrump, the special prosecutor in this case. At that point, he did say that he is deeply concerned about the governor's actions.
So the truth is, we don't really know the full details of what the evidence is.
He is currently making arrangements with the governor's defense attorney for the governor to come to the Travis County Jail in downtown Austin sometime in the next several days to do just that, to turn himself in. Did you threaten Rosemary Lindbergh? And this hiring may be an indication, Chris, that this investigation is really picking up momentum. We have found that Governor Perry himself was lining up a replacement for DA Lindbergh days before the public knew that he was planning to withhold money from her office. And the person we've confirmed he was considering, it was not a Republican, but instead a well-known Austin Democrat. Tyler, Terry, this is the first time in almost a century that a sitting Texas governor has been indicted on criminal charges. So let me tell you what's going to be happening now. The governor will walk in those doors. You can see them through the crowd. This is the biggest amount, Brian and Yvonne, that the city of Austin has ever paid out after an Austin police shooting. The total, $1.25 million. Now, until today, the most the city has ever settled a case like this for was $1 million. From the police perspective, listen, they can't take a chance. If they believe someone is intoxicated based on a field sobriety test, their decision has to be made on the spot, on the side of the road. So for ideas about what to do with people who are drunk in public, officials are looking to cities like San Antonio, where instead of taking them to jail, they bring them here to sober up. After he was arrested, John Foster found himself on the wrong side of the law. He was brought here to the Williamson County Jail, where he was booked, fingerprinted, and had his mugshot taken, just like any other criminal suspect. Tyler, city officials today negotiated with the attorney for Larry Eugene Jackson's 3 children. But City Hall sources tell me that the final settlement, which city council members will consider Thursday, will almost certainly be more than $1 million. That means the use of tasers, which typically have gotten the same kind of review as pepper spray, will now get the same level of scrutiny as a baton. This settlement ends a federal lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court here in downtown Austin and preempts what could have been a lengthy trial. And this is the first time the public is actually getting to see this video. It adds a different perspective of what happened that day in February outside the officer's church in South Austin. Take a look at the video for yourself. Did the officer do what you would expect, or did he go too far?
Exclusive new video shows why those deputies say they used force against that student.
KVUE defender and Austin American-Statesman reporter Tony Plohetski has been following this case from the beginning, and he was able to obtain this video. Tony?
And this is a case that parents still talk about, how police are using force against students in school. Now, for months, we have only heard from officials about why a deputy used his taser on a 17-year-old high school student. But in these newly obtained videos, we hear it from him in his own words. Inside Cedar Creek High School last year.
So Deputy Stalkup and I, we walked this direction, trying to see what was going on.
Bastrop County Sheriff's Deputy Randy McMillan is reenacting the day he tased 17-year-old Noe Nino de Rivera.
I turned and Noe's over here, kind of this direction.
McMillan was one of 2 deputies at the school that day. He is explaining how the other, Deputy Timothy Stalkup, drew his taser first.
He's not compliant. At one point he tells him to tase him. He's still very, very agitated.
Then, his back to the camera, McMillan shows how he then pulled his own taser and fired, sending 50,000 volts of electricity through the student's body. Nino de Rivera fell backwards, hit his head, and appeared disoriented.
So we took him in here to the nurse's office. He sat down here.
It was only later did doctors find the severity of his injuries. He was in a medically induced coma for more than a month.
He immediately, got tense and then just fell back.
Later, in this interrogation room, Texas Rangers questioned McMillan on the left.
The reason that I tased him was, one, I thought that he was about to attack my partner, based on his actions throughout the whole thing, him continuing to be aggressive and non-compliant. So,
and this.
I felt that the best course of action would be the taser. That pepper spray, there's just too many kids in there, you have it in the air, it's just a mess, and so I felt the taser was just the best way just to get him under control.
In January, the KVUE defenders first brought you this exclusive hallway video of the incident, appearing to show the student backing away from McMillan at the time he fired. Now, in this newly obtained Texas Rangers report, also never before made public, the Rangers investigating the incident said they also conducted interviews with Stallcup. That deputy said he had put his hand on Nino de Rivera's chest and that the student, quote, slapped Deputy Stallcup's hand away and backed up and took up a fighting stance. Nino de Rivera's family say he was only trying to break up a fight at this school that day, a fight that was already over by the time the deputies arrived. His family says it is those deputies, not the teen, that caused the situation to escalate and turn violent.
Why do you not just go grab him if he's causing a problem?
We watched the videos with Austin attorney Adam Lowy, who represents Nino de Rivera.
When you look at the video, it is very clear that no, he was not fighting and did not hit anyone. So I'm very confident when a jury looks at this, they will not believe what the deputies are saying.
In the reenactment, McMillan shows how he first tried to subdue the student through a bear hug. Later, in the interrogation, he says that looking back, he wishes Nino de Rivera would have made a different decision that day.
If he did not want to continue this, he could have ran away, he could have walked away, he could have done a number of things to give up, but he didn't.
Split-second decisions that have forever changed a teen's life. Now, as we have reported, a Bastrop County grand jury declined to issue any indictments in this case, but the FBI is still investigating. The teen's family has also sued the county, and that case is not yet resolved. Meanwhile, knowing Nino de Rivera remains in a rehabilitation center where he is in daily therapy. January 13th, 2013. Austin police pull Larry Davis in his vintage Buick over in Northeast Austin after running a red light. Soon, they're investigating him for DWI.
How many drinks you have tonight? You have one drink? Is that it, just one?
Davis walks the line. He does the one-leg stand. Then, this.
Put your hands behind your back.
The handcuffs click in place, and he is under arrest.
I was like, why? What did I do?
Davis insists he only had one drink that night, and a voluntary breath test minutes later at the county jail showed he'd not had too much to drink. He blew a 0.00, the lowest reading possible.
And I told him I would do a blood sample as well, just to prove that I had nothing in my system.
So he did. That test looked for 7 types of illegal drugs in his system. And when the results came back several months later, they too tested negative. When the evidence arrived on his desk a few weeks later, Davis's lawyer couldn't believe what he saw.
My reaction was, this is shocking that this happened.
So why did Austin police arrest Davis here in this parking lot? Well, they say it's a judgment call, whether to let a potentially drunk and dangerous person drive away or take them to jail.
How much you have to drink tonight?
The defenders first told you about cases like this in a 2011 joint Austin American Statesman investigation. Cases like Bianca Fuentes. Austin police arrested her for DWI even though she tested below the legal limit of .08. Her case was later dropped. At the time, prosecutors were dismissing about 30% of drunk driving cases, more than any other major Texas county, because they said APD was bringing them cases that wouldn't hold up in court. A defender's review finds similar statistics for 2013. Of 5,648 new DWI cases filed last year, 1,559, a little less than 30%, were dismissed. Police are still abiding by a take-no-chances policy, even if it means the cases are later thrown out.
We'd rather, of course, err on the side of caution, for public safety.
Police originally pulled Davis over for running a stop sign near I-35 and 290. They say the officer arrested him based on his performance on a field sobriety test, writing in a report that Davis, quote, swayed and, quote, had to use his arms for balance. Even the police, though, admit his case is highly unusual. They almost never arrest a driver whose breath test registers 0 and whose blood comes back negative. Commander David Mahoney says the officers in Davis's case believe he could have been on another drug, like marijuana, that isn't detected in blood tests.
If there's someone that is impaired, we obviously don't want them driving, and we need to get them off the road, and so that was probably his mindset.
Mahoney, the arresting officer's supervisor, said he still supports the officer's decision that night.
I think he did the right thing and did what he was supposed to do.
But a high-ranking prosecutor who looked at the case told the defenders that, quote, there is just not evidence of intoxication. For Davis, the arrest came with a cost, financially and emotionally.
I was arrested for nothing, really, just a suspicion of drunk DUI, which I wasn't, so it's like It was surprising and hurt at the same time.
Now Davis and his lawyer plan to file a case of their own, a grievance with the Austin Police Monitor's office against the officer who arrested him.
Outrageous, totalitarian. I mean, those are Democrats saying that. That's not me.
Good morning. It's 5 a.m. and welcome to KVUE News Daybreak. We begin with an exclusive interview with Governor Rick Perry. I'm Brian Mays.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. It is Tuesday, August 19th. Governor Perry is currently facing federal charges for the way he responded when Travis County District Attorney Rosemary Lemberg was arrested on a DWI charge in April of 2013.
KVUE's Tony Plohetski spoke with the governor for the first time since his press conference and a grand jury indictment. Tony joins us now from the Capitol Bureau.
In a story we've been following for more than a year, I caught up exclusively Monday night with Texas Governor Rick Perry and spoke to him for the first time since his news conference following a grand jury indictment. So you believe that this whole thing is about partisan politics. Why do you say that? What makes you say that?
Well, let's just look at what Alan Dershowitz says. Let's see what Jonathan Chatt says. These are men and women who are on the Democrat side of the aisle that say that's outrageous, totalitarian. I mean, those are Democrats saying that. That's not me.
Did you threaten Rosemary Lemberg?
I clearly told the folks what I was going to do with the funding, and I did that. There wasn't any hiding it. I spoke clearly that I'd lost confidence in her after seeing the video.
This indictment stems from Governor Perry first telling Rosemary Lemberg that she must step down following her drunk driving arrest last year, or that he would withhold $7.2 million in funding for her public integrity unit. She didn't resign, and the governor did veto that money. Tony Plohetski, KVUE News Daybreak.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much for that exclusive interview.